All right, so today's lesson is going to be on submitting your UC applications, and we're actually going to be talking more about your academic resumes. So if you have not submitted anything to your academic resume, you are falling behind. No pressure, but a little pressure. Your academic resume is mandatory for Gear Up. Our goal is to have you guys have at least five activities with descriptions. That's the important part, the descriptions. Many of you, I notice, have inputted the activity you have done, but not the description. So please start working on those descriptions as soon as possible. So your academic resume. So there are 6 categories in the activities and awards section of that UC application. Choose experiences that have meaning, illustrate interest, and or demonstrate leadership. These are just a couple of examples of the questions in 2 of the categories of the UC application. So they'll ask for other coursework, so academic courses that do not fit in the A through G category of history or social science, English, math, laboratory science, language other than English, and or visual performing arts should be reported in this section. Examples include leadership courses or religious courses. Do not include non-academic courses such as PE, office teacher assistant, etc. So yeah, the last part. So if you took courses like PE, or if you were a teacher's aide, you do not put that in the other courses section. Educational preparation program. So all of you guys should have this. Gear Up is the educational preparation program for you guys. So programs included, but are not limited to Avid, Upward, Bound, and Gear Up. A list of common programs appear in a drop-down menu. If a program is not included manually, go ahead and enter it. So if Gear Up doesn't pop up in the drop-down menu when you are going to your UC application, then you go ahead and type it in. There are also going to be options of community service. So consistent participation over time may indicate commitment and dedication. So also keeping in mind of what activities have you been involved maybe the longest. So they also look at that. They look at your consistency and how long you've been involved in things. They also look at your work experience. So they want to see that you demonstrate time management, responsibility, and perhaps leadership skills as well through the work experience. Also honors and awards. So awards such as, awards are significant in nature, excuse me. So countywide, statewide, and national indicate a high level achievement with significant competition. School-based awards are more meaningful to readers if context is provided, such as that you got like 5th place out of 500 students to earn awards, but even perfect attendance can be insightful. So pretty much what that is saying that when you write about which awards or honors you might get, adding details such as, the placement, if there was, an application process for it and you got 5th place out of 500 students, it's good to put that into the descriptions because that's important. Like you, out of 500 kids, you got 5th place. That is something these application readers want to see. And then also if you got perfect attendance, put that in there. So perfect attendance is an award that is insightful of the kind of character you have. And then extracurricular activities. So continued participation over time indicates passion, commitment, and sometimes leadership, and then enter details about each activity. So these are what came from the UC admissions page on the 6 categories of the activities part in the UC application. So where can you find your academic resume? So your academic resume is in your college toolkit, as I've mentioned to you guys before, under the extracurriculars tab, and then you will see your academic resume in there. There is a video attached to this on how to access your college toolkit. For the purposes of today, I'm not going to play it because I know I've shown it to you guys a few times, and you guys are probably tired of watching it, but it is there if you need it again. There we go. So UC application activities and awards. This is what it should look like when you go onto the UC application and you see activities and awards. Here's the drop down that I talked about earlier. So the category you choose out of the 6 categories, and then you will see that it will continue to a different drop down menu of this. So what was the program name? Briefly describe the program. When did you participate in the program? How much time did you spend in this program? So those are the details you need to know about the activities that you are going to be putting in. So if educational preparation program, I would then put, what is the program name? Gear Up, briefly describe the program. If you guys have it in your activities and if you already have it in your academic resume, you can go ahead and just copy and paste into this. But if not, then you would have to write out your description, then the years that you were involved in Gear Up, and then hours spent per week. So it is important for students to remember to describe their roles, their responsibilities, and accomplishments in the activities rather than focusing on describing the activity itself. Again, it's better to describe their roles, responsibilities, and accomplishments other than just describing what the activity was. And then as a reminder, the admissions readers are only going to spend 8 to 10 minutes, 10 minutes max on your application. 10 minutes might be too much for some of these readers. So you want to make sure you are writing things as precise as possible. Make it short and straight to the point with important context. Numbers stand out, and so do leadership positions. The next slide is a strong example of what an academic resume should look like and sound like. So as you can see, the different categories. So this student had 3 for awards, 3 for name activity. This is, I believe, is just extracurriculars, and then community service. They had 1, 2, 3, 4. So 10. Oh, let me go back really quick. Excuse me. So they had 10 in total. I bring that up to say you should not have more than 10. After more than 10, it's a little too much. More than 10 activities doesn't really show your personality or your character. You wanna, if you have more than 10, you wanna then pick at least 10 that really show your leadership role and your accomplishment and what you're passionate about. I'm gonna read out some examples from here. So for the team sport award, they got a team sportsmanship award for 10th and 11th grade, selected from an entire basketball team for commitment to succeed as a team, develop team building activities, and organize gatherings such as tutoring sessions. Then for extracurriculars, they had basketball, recruit and train new members, create flyers to advise games, lead practices when coach is unavailable, helped raise 500 to use for equipment. And then gonna read one example from community service. So church food drive, prepare food, collect donations from community used for monthly food drive, promote events and recruit volunteers, serve food to homeless guests. So those are just 3 examples of descriptions. Again, short and sweet, shouldn't be an essay. And then you can see also the years of involvement that they asked for, hours per week, and then weeks per year. So what looks strong? Of course, things like leadership, dedication, and taking initiative and responsibility. So leadership. This needs to be highlighted throughout your activities when you're uh, where applicable, excuse me. So leadership needs to be highlighted through your activities where applicable. Highlight all leadership roles that you have when participating in the activities you listed. So some examples are secretary, lead peer counselor, treasurer, vice president, team captain, things like that. Dedication. So aside from years of involvement, make sure to include all hours dedicated to your activity. Do not only include the hours spent in participating or meetings. Make sure to include the stuff you learned, projects or events you may have led, or resources that you put together. This all displays dedication. So not only the time you spent. Initiative. Being the founder of a club, food drive, starting a community movement or event, that whatever it might be, that is taking initiative, starting something new. That shows that you are taking initiative, or also not waiting, for others to start something. Maybe at practice, you see, everybody else kind of waiting around, waiting for the coach to get there, but you take initiative and you're like, no, hey, we're gonna start stretching before coach gets here. That's taking initiative. Also, responsibility. Alongside leadership, ensure you are using action words to showcase your responsibility. Action verbs, I talk about this all the time. They are to highlight these characteristics that application raters see as strong. So some examples are manage, supervise, oversee. And then we have more examples here. Facilitated, created, responsible for, entrusted with. These are all action verbs that you guys should be using in your descriptions. So clear wording. Remember to use action verbs like the ones listed because they provide clear wording that will help you emphasize your role and responsibilities. Give yourself credit. So I tell you guys this all the time, give yourselves credit. A lot of you guys might not be involved in clubs or extracurriculars or in church or things like that. It's okay. If you are helping your family, if you have a lot of responsibility in your household and at home, if you help with little ones, if you might help your grandparents, if you even help translate, help your parents translate. Those are all things that you can give yourself credit for and write about in your college applications. So again, some examples: multiple subject tutor, elderly caretaker, translator, and daycare provider. These are all things you guys can give yourselves credit to that a lot of students often forget to input into their applications. All right, now for the activity time. So the activity attached with these slides is the academic resume. So as I showed you guys in the beginning, the video on how to access the academic resume is attached to the slide. It should be like the third slide to this presentation. And it should not look new to you guys. Many of you guys may have seen it before, may have worked on it before, but we are simply now going back to this so we can work on the descriptions and hopefully have at least five activities with descriptions. So don't use acronyms for names of clubs or awards on your academic resume. Spell them out and explain your level of involvement. Also, don't list the same activity in multiple areas. If you listed one activity in honors and awards, do not list it again in like extracurriculars or like educational programs or something like that. And make sure the most important activities are reflected in some way. So again, choosing the activities that show your character and your role more than, activities that might not show who you really are and who your character is. Are there any questions?